There's a quiet assumption in some circles that the U.S. can maintain its current production or even push it higher through sheer will. But realism tells us otherwise. Right now, we're producing just under 13 million barrels a day. Not a small feat, but we're also seeing unmistakable signs of strain. Rig counts are down, drilling permits are slowing, and the capital flowing into new projects remains cautious at best. There's no denying it anymore. We've hit a plateau. I'm Mark Roach, and this is FutureWise Energy. After decades in this industry, I've seen how optimism can blind us to hard truths. The hesitation we're seeing today isn't just a phase. It's a response to a deeper structural factor. Even major players like ExxonMobil and Chevron are walking a fine line. Exxon's Liam Mallon recently said a surge in U.S. oil production is unlikely, even with political pressure. The economics, and I quote here, of what we're doing matter most, end quote. He noted. And Chevron, too, signals restraint. CEO Mike Wirth has warned that if oil prices drop below $60, we could see output in the Permian decline. Yet their strategy is disciplined. And as I've been saying, orientated toward cash flow, not volume. And this reflects a broader shift across the U.S. upstream sector. The day of drill, baby, drill, well, maybe that's over. Efficiency and financial discipline are the new currencies of the game. But we have to ask ourselves if they're enough. Increasingly, I'm skeptical. Take the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America and Alaska, for example. Both hold critical untapped reserves, but developments in these two regions have slowed to a crawl. Shell has pushed Gulf projects into late 2025, and in Alaska, the economics of $60 to $65 a barrel feel too tight for comfort. Every delay in these two regions isn't a missed opportunity, it's just an added risk to our energy security. We risk falling into a familiar trap where geopolitical reliance replaces domestic capacity. And make no mistake, that reliance comes at a cost. The resources we consume don't exist in a vacuum. They're tied to nations with volatile politics and conflicting values. We don't just buy their hydrocarbons, we inherit their problems. Think about Saudi Arabia. Yes, they're leveraging their low cost and extending their global influence through projects like NOM and infrastructure investments, but they're also tightening the screws on global market control. OPEC's recent 411,000 barrel per day increase in output wasn't an act of generosity, it was a calculated move to manage prices, keeping WTI at 63 and Brent at 66. That's control, plain and simple. Meanwhile, other players are stepping up where we're falling behind. Brazil's Petrobras is a prime example. They're not holding back. They've made another pre-salt discovery in the Santos Basin and are ramping up in the Baja Basin. These are long-term plays that solidify their role as a non-OPEC supply leader. Across the Asia-Pacific, exploration is booming, with over 100 blocks open in Pakistan, Vietnam, and Brunei. Even Europe is evolving, consolidating the North Sea through projects like that with Equinor and Shell's Adura, while growing renewable capacity. The rest of the world is moving. Hesitating now doesn't just leave us stagnant, it pushes us out of the conversation entirely. There's a kind of talk about resilience and about holding steady. But if we look at the bigger picture, holding steady isn't enough. Diamondback Energy is right to say that the U.S. production may have peaked. The question is, what comes next? Growth is no longer a volume game. It's about making the right moves in today's narrow margin reality. But can we afford to wait for the perfect economics? Distressed assets left to the wrong hands could create safety and environmental problems that will haunt the industry for years. Capital discipline matters, yes, but so does decisive action. The EIA projects that global liquid fuels production will rise by 1.3 to 1.4 million barrels per day over the next 2 years. But most of that growth will come from non-OPEC supply. Without renewed focus, the U.S. risks not only losing production numbers, but also influence, with our energy security increasingly dictated by external forces. The horizon is shifting. The Gulf, Alaska, Permian, we need action here. And now, hesitation doesn't serve us. Capital may be finite, but conviction can't be. The world doesn't stop. If we do, we're not just treading water, we're sinking. I'm Mark Roach, and this is FutureWise Energy. The future depends on what we choose today. Waiting really isn't an option. Leadership is.